Hello and welcome into the Screaming Eagle of Father Son podcast. Another episode today. I believe it's episode 4 at this point, but the Caps are likely cooked on the playoff push. It seemed that way, but chances are now down to 4%. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk some prospects, what's coming up in the future, and what we would like to see this summer. So, Dad, how's it going?
Good, good. I was disappointed that Boston lost last night. I mean,
I mean, no
Boston
one's
won
no
last
one's
night.
losing.
Sorry,
No one's losing.
Boston
We're
won.
not in the
Boston won
Pacific
last night.
though. We're not in the Pacific,
No,
and that is the worst thing you could ever be right now. I've been watching a lot of games just because the Pacific is so bad. That's why my whole opinion on the Ducks trade has been everyone's opinion is very interesting because I don't know why the Ducks would make a move to go and make a push. They have literally the whole Pacific of division has less points than most of the teams in the playoff race for the East, which is so frustrating because Pacific they can't win a game. Like they literally I think went 0 and 6, 0 and 7 and instead, we're in the East where it is a dogfight, and it seems like whoever needs a win is getting a win, or whoever needs a point is getting a point, except for us. We got killed. So let's talk really quick about that, about this last week. Obviously, the one that's fresh in everybody's minds at this point right now on Thursday morning is that St. Louis game. And it just, for a team that we were kind of hoping for, all right, maybe they are getting a little more inspired, it was just bad and it did not look like it just was not a good hockey game and it looked like they cared but they were just slow off didn't really they didn't seem in it for a moment they really didn't and it's kind of ironic you're looking at this game and you're like oh they're going against St. Louis Blues well they just got their butt kicked by multiple guys they maybe could have acquired at the deadline or guys they were, everyone talked about requiring at the deadline. And so, a little interesting there. But yeah, Dad, what did you think? I know
well,
it wasn't a good
well,
performance.
yeah. I mean, we had Colorado on Sunday, and there were some real gaffaws in that game.
Oh
Obviously
yeah, I
Thompson
forgot
going
about that.
around the net. And that was horrible. Landeskog had a nice open net, which is fairly easy for him to put away. And then Cole Hudson had kind of a missed play, where he was kind of dangling with the puck around his feet and lost it, and somebody was right
Well, it
there to put
wasn't it
in.
wasn't even it wasn't even a dangle. Like he wasn't doing it. The puck came to him, it bounced on him. He tried to stop it. It bounced over him and it went.
Right,
Like it wasn't like
right.
he was doing something stupid with the
No,
puck.
that's true.
But the
That's true.
puck
No,
came
I
to him
agree.
and he didn't stop
Yeah,
it and he like let it go by his
right,
feet for an open goal. So it's still
right,
still a blunder. I'm not saying that,
right.
but it just was not I didn't see it as a
Yeah.
Cole like
No,
trying to
I
do it
would
all
agree.
himself.
I would agree. And so I only bring those up because I kind of I felt like okay, we we played the top team in the NHL, and we were with them, right? And we have these blunders, that really kind of end up sabotaging the game. And so psychologically, I hope nothing comes out of that game and bleeds into the St. Louis game. But then you have the St. Louis game, and you're just like, I mean, I guess it was just you expect them to come out stronger. I know it's on the road. I mean, this team is very different than last year when it comes to the road. Their record on the road is much worse than it was last year. So I
Yeah,
don't
I
know what
mean,
that dynamic is. Obviously, most NHL teams have less wins on the road than they do at home usually, but they just didn't come out inspired. And when you feel like this is a must win, you expect them just to come on hard. And I didn't see that in their play. Again, you got to get your style pretty quick. And you mentioned something I think a week ago that I thought was interesting, which was, they really have been struggling all year to really maintain an identity, from a standpoint of playing the same way every game. It's really been a lot of up and down. And so I think that that's really relevant. And again, these are big boys. So, whatever trades went on at the trade deadline with Dowd and Carlson, you got to presume you got to, pull up the jeans or whatever the pants and head out there and play, right? And so I just felt it was flat. Again, that's what folks were saying, on the
They
commentary.
seem to me, they seem almost, and I don't want to say this in a bad way, but like mentally weak. Like it seems like their heads have not cannot be fully in it. And I say this because not because I think, oh, the trade happened and they've all kind of turtled and gone away. I don't think that's the case at all. Tom Wilson said it when that trade happened. He's like, we can be sad today. Tomorrow we got to play hockey. We got a job to do.
Mhm.
Um, but you look at, okay, how well they play against the best team in the NHL for 2.5 periods, or how well they play against them the entire time, taking a lead and leading that game. And then you look at it, and what are the only reason they lost that game is two dumb goals, like truly
Mhm.
dumb goals. Not we
Right,
handed the Colorado Avalanche a win in that game. And
right,
then you said, "Oh, is it going to bleed in?" They pretty much picked up where they left off.
right.
Just it was bad into bad. Like I just think right now, you're right. This team doesn't have an identity. It got rocked maybe by the trade. I don't know. And they're struggling to figure out who they are again, or they've been struggling to figure out who they are all season. Because, I mean, it's the complaint that we had before the trade deadline, and it is now. We have the worst top six in hockey. We talked last time about how Pierre-Luc Dubois would have probably helped a lot, and people don't think about that. But at the same time, I think that's probably the difference between us being a brink playoff team, like right there in the wild card, or where we are now outside. But
Right.
the truth is we don't have a a top winger that can score. We have no one on our team that we can trust that we're like, all right, go put the puck in the back of that. I know I'm saying that, and we have Alexander Ovechkin, but it's a
Right.
very different Ovi. This is an Ovi we have to set up. We have to get goals. We have to put him in his spots. He's not just going to go out and get it. And with the year Dylan Strome's having, it's a down year. Like Michael's a down year. Like Protus is about at the pace, but
Right.
like still no one no one's stepping up to a huge degree where it's like, okay, I'm an NHL All-Star. I'll carry this team along now.
Right.
And
Well,
like we said, we hope it's Cole, we hope it's Ryan, but we obviously know something needs to be done because the team that is on the ice right now is just it's tough.
let's so I'm not sure if you saw the Dylan Strome interview after the game.
I didn't.
But
Oh,
so
you told me about this. Yes. Yes.
right. And so Dylan Strome's interview, honestly, his tone, his tenor, everything just was low energy. Um, Obviously, he referenced he can't remember the last time he got a goal. So it's been, he said he mentioned, oh, it might have been 2 months ago. So he knows it's his job to produce goals. And in the last 11 games, I think the statistic was in the last 11 games, they've averaged less than 2 goals. Okay. So,
Which is more like the team from 2 years ago.
right, right.
It's
True.
like they were that team. You know, we were the team 2 years ago that was just trying to fight. We acquired all these guys. People were like, "Why did you acquire all of them? Those guys aren't that good." And they ended up being pretty solid for us, and we were a brink playoff team. But what was our big thing? Charlie Lindgren basically got us into the playoffs because he just played so well. If we scored if the team we were playing scored any more than two, if they scored three or four, we were done because we couldn't keep up with that. But if we could keep it scrappy at 2-1, which is I thought we were going to do against Colorado, then we can win. It's the same thing now.
Right.
It's the same thing. It's that the expectations skyrocketed, and now it's like they've regressed back to that team before, um,
And and and
and
and,
just
and again, we
can't
knew
put it in the back of the net.
right, and we knew this at the beginning of the year. We all talked about the fact that people had had career years last year, right? And can we expect that we're going to have career years every year? No, we can't. But you still expected this team to perform differently than they have. Obviously, Dubois was a key loss throughout the year. But at the end of the day, the amount of goals that we need to match against what we're being scored against is much higher. We need to be in the 3 or 4 range average, and we're not. And I thought Dylan's comments really, in my mind, highlighted the the disappointment that they have not been able to score. And again, I think they're all kind of grasping for why that is. It's
because
tremendous to have Chikrin as a strong offensive defenseman. It's very strong to now have Cole Hudson as a strong
your
offensive
best
defenseman.
offensive
They
players can't be defensemen.
right, exactly,
They just can't.
exactly,
I love that they're
right,
great. I like Kale
right,
McCarr, amazing. Quinn Hughes, amazing.
right,
Well, Hughes has Kirill Kaprizov and Matt Boldy and so many others. And
right,
on the
right,
other side, McCarr has McKinnon and
right.
Landeskog and a whole
Yep,
plethora and
right,
Natchez. And so they're great players and they're huge to their teams, but they have great forwards, great teams in front of them. Your defensemen
right,
can't be your best scorers. And I love Tom
right,
Wilson, and he is the heart and soul of our team, next captain. And he's basically our leading offensive player. Tom Wilson is very good. There's a reason he made Team Canada, but he will never be known as a goal scorer, point per game, like over point per game guy, which is what we need. Tom will always
right,
be who he is, which is one of the best players in the league because of how good he is all over in every single way. But like that's why I mentioned Jason Robertson. We'll talk about the offseason later. Like we need scoring, and it's been unbelievably disappointing to them, I'm sure, to us 100%. And it's exciting that we have that stuff and we have such bright spots, but there's such a clear glaring issue that wasn't addressed, and that's kind of what brought
Well,
us here.
and just to end that, as far as the last couple of games, who's playing lights out? Logan Thompson. I mean, any
Oh,
other
there's
year
another highlight,
on a t
another highlight.
any other year on a team that actually was going to the playoffs, he's in the Vezina discussion. Okay, so I mean that's the and I felt a little bit that in the Dylan Strome interview, because it's like at the end of the day, your job is to score goals, right? Those offensive on that first, second, obviously the whole team, but first, second lines, your job, score goals, right? And it felt as if he was acknowledging that they're they're letting down the rest of the team, because at the end of the day they're not scoring, and you've got a goalie who is playing lights out behind you, right? And so I think that just was really telling from my perspective.
Yeah.
It's like,
And just something that I always think is interesting, the Caps still have a plus 9 goal differential.
right. Oh yeah.
Like in Philly, who's ahead of us in the standings, -10. Detroit, who's ahead of us in the standings, -4. And then the Islanders, who are right on a brink of a playoff game and wild card spot, +3. Um, so and then you look at the whole NHL, they're actually in the top like 17 in goal differential because most of the West is negative. So it's
Right.
just like it's also like why are you, and it's probably that's probably a testament to Logan. When we put some goals in, he keeps a bunch out, so our differential's better.
Right.
But
Right.
it's
Right.
just like that is a frustrating. It's like why we are obviously scoring more than we get scored on. Why are there not more wins? Why is
Right.
there not more points?
But but again, St. Louis is a perfect example. When do you see us lose 3-0? I mean, the number of times we've been shut out this year, that would be a statistic to look up, because again, I'm
I'll
not
look
sure
now.
what that statistic is, but I'm telling you, it's like when we don't produce goals, if we are on a 0 or a 1 for the amount of goals scored, we're losing games. Okay. Even games where we score 2, most of those I bet we've lost. Okay. Um, the record that we have probably is fairly high for 3 goals or more, right?
Probably.
And so, the formula is you got to score more. And, again, I think we've kind of talked through it, but, clearly that's the gap that we have right now.
Yeah, no, it's interesting to watch down the stretch. So we'll have to find little silver lining things to pick out, and that's kind of what we're going to talk about next. And just we already talked a lot last episode about Cole and Ryan, and obviously they're really coming up and doing a lot. I think for me, my silver lining that I'm going to mention is someone who does get lost in that rookie group, but we all love him so much, and that's Justin Sordiff. Because Justin Sordiff, I mean, he's having a rookie year along with Ryan. It's just when you
Right.
hear Ryan, you're like, wow, that's our top 10 pick who was, playing at BC, national attention, Captain World Juniors, two-time World Junior gold medal. He
Just
brought a
turned
lot
just
with
turned
him.
20. Just
Yeah, he
turned 20.
brought he brought a lot with him.
Right.
Whereas Justin Sordiff was this acquisition in the offseason. I think what we gave a second round pick for him, I think.
I think that sounds about
I'm
right,
pretty
I
sure we
think.
gave him a second round pick. We gave it to the Panthers. He was
Right, sure.
um he was a guy in at the Charlotte Checkers, which is actually where I lived for a bit and covered them. I have a friend who's their team reporter and loves Justin. Like loves Justin. Says he's one of the
Right,
best guys you'll ever meet. He is one of the
right,
best guys you'll ever see on his skates. And apparently she's a figure skater, so they would do some figure skating segments, and he would try and do like the spins and stuff on hockey skates, which is like not very easy, and he was able to do it off his toe, and he's just very, very talented on his skates, and he's a great player, has the speed. So the fact that, he got dug down on a Florida roster that was extremely good, obviously they won two cups, and he just wasn't getting a shot. So you think, okay, going at second round pick for an AHLer is an interesting choice, but the Caps knew who they were getting. And we've heard nothing but great things. Everyone said, like, Justin sort of just does everything you need him to do. And you see that on the ice. There is one guy, if there's one guy I see never give even a lick of just slightly less effort, it's Justin Sordiff. I
right.
see that guy on the ice and he is going 1,000% trying to do everything he can to set up his teams, to set up his teammates, to get it to the goal, just to get it in the zone. It has been just such a bright spot and such a highlight for us to get excited about because, like I said, we have so many exciting young players, and he is a huge one. I mean, he's done a great job. 14 goals. Like we talked about
Mm,
Ryan
right,
getting 15, which was the most since Backstrom.
right,
Well,
right.
sort
Justin's
of
right
got
behind him.
14, the most since Ryan, who just did it.
Right,
So like they're
right,
doing it together as rookies, and
right.
and you're just we're thinking all about the young kids who got drafted a couple years ago, but this rookie in Sordif being a little older has been awesome, and I'm excited to have him for I hope hopefully many more years. I think he could be a next core of the locker room because he's just I think such a likable guy from what I've seen. But yeah, I think my silver lining for this week to look at and to encourage Caps fans to really watch is just Justin Sordiff. Watch 34. You probably already have. This probably isn't news to anyone, but he is going to be a big part of the future, along with Cole, along with Ryan, who we've already talked a lot about.
Right. Well, before I get to my silver lining, on Justin, so I think what people fail to appreciate is yes, he started out playing center, probably in juniors, I think even he played center, but he was playing wing, right? And so he comes over to the Caps. Dubois goes down, they slot him into the center, and he's done phenomenal. And the reality is, that's a difficult transition at times at the NHL level, right? It's a different you know style of play, things that you're responsible for on the ice, whole range of things, right? So and McMichael's
You're
flop
a
back and
lot
forth.
more, you have a lot more responsibility defensively as a center.
Correct, correct. And McMichael's gone back and forth on that paradigm too, center, left wing, or wing. Um, but so I really find that impressive. And again, I think that kind of plays into his. He's flexible, right? So if I look at the team right now, we could go into the off season potentially, and we'll talk about more about the off season in a minute, but we could potentially have a lot of flexibility in what we go after in the off season, right? We could go for another top line center, and move everyone back a little bit. A lot of it depends on how David Kampf plays out, which is kind of maybe another
The
issue
weirdest
that we,
trade I've ever seen ever.
yeah, right, exactly. We haven't seen him yet. We haven't seen him yet.
And is he a
Hopefully, we do see
UFA?
him.
Just really quick, is he a
Yeah,
UFA?
absolutely.
So
He's a
literally, we
UFA.
could have done this. He had his baby and just traveled out and then just dipped. Like that's crazy. Oh,
Well,
whatever.
it's just what's funny is at the end of the day, it's we've got 10 games potentially. Hopefully, he's in tonight or on Saturday.
You got
But we've
10
got 10
games to
games to.
prove if you want a contract,
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, we'll
I
see, we'll
guess.
see. But again, I think that all of that kind of plays into where to sort of play next year, right? Does he play a center, maybe third line center like he is right now, which is a great line, sort of McMichael and Leonard, a good line, or is he ultimately going to be pushed over to wing because either we go after another center or Ilya comes up, right? Maybe Ilya is the third line center at that point, right? Um, so from a silver lining perspective, again, with the current team, I think we have a phenomenal prospect pool. The silver lining is that prospect pool, right? Whether it's Ilya Protas or Andrew Cristal, the question that I think we're constantly asking in our mind is, to your point, we need a top six, winger, right? And so, is Crystal that? Is he
We
capable of
need a top
scoring?
six star. That's what I'm honestly adjusting it to.
And right,
Top
and I
six
agree with
star,
you.
center,
Right.
winger,
And
whatever.
and
Just someone.
it doesn't have to be a 30, 40 goal scorer, right? I mean, the thing about Andrew Cristal is he creates opportunity. He's got a huge boatload of number of assists down in Hershey. Not as many goals as certainly Ilya. Ilya's kind of I think 25 goals, 24 assists, something like that. Whereas, Andrew Cristal's, I think, about 10 goals, maybe 30, 35 assists, right? Or something like that. High volume assists. But, you need someone who's going to push play, right? I mean, that's what we need. When we talk about top six winger, you need someone who's going to push play, right?
But here's
We
the thing.
have
Here's
that,
the thing. Also, is we're that's putting a lot on young prospects to come up. Like you're like expecting a young prospect to come up and just be an effective top six, very good winger is a lot
right,
to expect of someone. And
right,
and that's what we were talking about yesterday, and we can mention it here now, is that was my thing is that we have a lot of great young players, and if we do, but we obviously are very attached to them because that was what was being asked for Quinn. That was what was being
right.
asked for,
Yep, yep,
like
yep.
that was what was happening is, we have a lot of great prospects, but we're holding on to them because we like them a lot. So that shows me, all right, you're going to have to find spots for these guys to get up, which is the same thing you're talking about. Like, okay, so you're expecting Andrew Cristal maybe to step up. You're expecting Ilya to be a center next year. But we also expected us to maintain the level we did last year this year, and we didn't.
Right. Yeah.
So, in theory, like if that's what they want to do, then I get it, and you can kind of go almost a Canadians route with it of we're gonna ride and die with our young guys. With
Right.
Demidov,
Right.
Slavkovsky and Lane and Hudson and they and Suzuki and they slowly built their young core and now it's turning into something. And maybe that's the route they go, but yeah, it's a lot to expect of a young kid to be able to make the difference in top six.
And again, so I know we are talking about several linings, and I
Oh,
obviously
it's fine. Just go into it.
we talked about the prospects, but let's kind of revisit what's going on right now. Okay, so Ethan Frank goes down, Miro comes in again. Miro at some point needs to show
Yeah.
dynamic
I'm
dynamic
gonna
contributions to the game. Okay. And I don't know whether that's steering play, whether it's getting a goal. I don't know what it is, but he's going to have to prove something in the next 10 days. Okay. I think LaPierre is in a similar situation. Okay. So I know we're not talking about the silver linings anymore, but I'm saying let's look at these next 10 games and what are we going to see in the next 10 games, right?
Well, yeah,
Miro has an opportunity. LaPierre has an opportunity. Perhaps they'll bring up Cristal or Protus in the next 10 games to give them their first NHL debut game. But we need to see something
yeah.
from our prospects and some of the players that have been in the system for a long time. Because at the end of the day, if we're going into the offseason and we're going to go after players, either UFAs, which again, yes, get it. We have UFAs out there. I'm not sure. It's not a great UFA pool. Okay. So I'm not sure that's going to be the way we improve our team. Okay.
But
We
they do
may,
have lots of assets. And Chris Patrick said that they were
correct,
looking and
correct,
acquiring assets for future,
right.
reference.
Exactly.
So it
Exactly.
doesn't have to be a UFA.
Correct.
Um, So and but in like you said, we the silver linings are good. Obviously, I wanted to shout out sort of prospect pool
Yep.
is something that we have all known is a strength of ours now, and they're really leaning into that, obviously. So but we can talk more on prospects because we wanted to get a little more into it because you want to talk about it, definitely Ilya. We think Ilya should 100% come up. Ilya should have probably come up a while ago, and we should have sent Hendricks through waivers. That's another thing that I don't think we're going to get into right now. But the fact that Hendricks Lapierre was on the team all year long was probably an impact of why. Like Sordif could have played center if PLD doesn't get hurt. Then we have Swords, PLD, Strom as our top three centers, and Dowd as the fourth. Um,
Mhm.
so that's that. The whole Hendricks thing is something I don't think any of us understand. I think they might have been trying to better his stock by giving him opportunities to
Right.
try
Right.
and dish him
Mhm.
or just
Right.
up his value, I guess. But at the same time, is he a
Right.
UFA?
I don't know. I'm
RFA?
not really sure. Yeah, I'm not really. Yeah, it might be an RFA.
I
It
think
might be
he's
an
an
RFA.
RFA. And
Yeah, that makes sense.
so like at this point, that theory is null because he's not ours to trade after July 1st.
Right. Right.
Unless we either offer him match offer or someone someone offers
Right.
him, we match or we decide not to.
Right.
Like that's kind of the
Right.
decision on him. So yeah, that's obviously he's been a disappointing pick for a while now. Um, I've said it before little bits, but I'm ready to kind of fully get into it. It's just I've been out on Miro for a while. He has done nothing, not a single thing in the NHL that has shown me he is special up to the degree of what he was hyped to be, up to what a first round pick should be. We've given him lots of chances. He's played 44 NHL games. He has 10 points and 3 goals. Like it's not good. He's -3 on his career. Um,
Mhm.
and it's a small sample size, but I don't think he's part of the future. He does when he's in the NHL, I don't see him getting really many minutes ever. And he doesn't put puck in the back of the net. He doesn't show like flashes of these moments. Like that was the thing with Ryan and Cole. And obviously those are potentially sensational players and they're just very highly touted. But you expect to see those little flashes. Like even Sordif, you see those things and you're like, wow. And I get it. They're older. They're a little, they're a little better, I guess, except for Ryan and Cole aren't. But like Swords is a little older, more experienced. They actually might be about the same age. But you don't see that from Miro. You
Right.
just don't.
Well,
I
yeah,
do not see
you know, with
flashes.
right. And I think, you a lot of times, obviously when you've got prospects, they have projections, right? And the issue is Miro was projected as a top six winger. He was projected as that. Okay. If you look
As
at
most first round picks are.
yeah, yeah, if you look at Ilya, he's exceeded his projection. Kristoff potentially exceeded his projection. Um, Miro has not, and at some point,
No, Miro's
it
fallen to the point where he's
that's
probably,
yeah,
I think he's a top 6 AHLer.
and it's like his projection for the NHL is about at 20%, I think, is what I read
No,
last.
yeah,
And
I agree. I think
so
he's
so
yeah.
it's like, you just have to, see the writing on the wall at some point. And so, yeah, I mean, I just think at the end of the day, he may be an asset. And again, a lot of times you cannot underestimate that they need a change in scenery, a change in the
Yeah,
environment. Who
yeah.
knows what
I
it
mean,
what it
like you
is.
look at guys like we have so many guys that have gone on. Like Nathan Walker was a Brink guy and went on to have a great
Mhm.
career in St. Louis. Matthew
Right.
Perot, for all
Yeah.
my OG Caps fans, went to Winnipeg, had a great
Mhm.
career. Um,
Right.
so there's lots of guys that because sometimes it's the system. It's not the system, but sometimes it's literally the organization. There's not enough spots. There's not enough thing, which means you don't get as much time. You're not actually getting enough experience and coaching to flourish, whatever it may be.
Right.
So, yeah,
Right.
and I hope he
Exactly.
does well. I want
Yeah.
him
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
do well.
Right. Right.
It's just, I don't think it's on the Capitals. And with where this team is at right now, like he's not really helping. And the thing is, you're like, oh, let's just trade him. Well, you got to trade good players. And so if people may not really want our, we can't just be like, oh, we'll give you Hendrix Lapierre and Miroshnichenko, and like what they're gonna take two bad prospects that we don't want. Like that's
Well,
just not how
and
that
and the
works.
other thing too, you have to look at, and I think this is one of the things that plays into what I was thinking is like, so they signed Ethan Frank 2 years, 2 million. So it's like, if you're committing to Ethan Frank for 2 years, 2 million, then what's that mean for Miro or LaPierre or some of these other guys? I mean, the reality is it's like, okay, Frank is showing more upside than those guys, right? And they're willing to pay him.
Two
So
year,
I just
four
don't.
million. It's two
Oh,
year. It's
yeah. Oh,
each
I'm
year
sorry.
is two
Two
million. I
million
knew
a
what you
year.
were
2 million
saying.
a
I
year.
just
Sorry.
wanted to check it. But yeah, it's
Right.
2 years, 4 million.
Right. But I mean, again, I think you have to look at some of those things as indicators, right? It's an indicator to me. It's like, okay, 2 years, 2 million. He's obviously producing at a level, made the NHL regular, those kinds of things. He's being rewarded. you know, do I think LaPierre's put himself in a position to do that on the RFA level, right? I mean, again, RFA is a process really where they're going to say, okay, we're willing to pay you this if they want to keep him, right? We're willing to pay you this. And he says, yes, I'm willing to accept that. Or no, they go to arbitration and figure out, like, okay, where's the happy medium,
Well,
right? Or
well,
something like that.
also it's also as an RFA is that other teams can offer you. The Caps just always have an opportunity to
Correct.
match. That's
First,
the
right,
biggest thing.
matching, right. Exactly, exactly. So again, I
And
don't,
that's
I,
and
I
that's
look.
the do we choose to match or are we like, hey, have a nice one.
Right, right. Well, and again, I look at that and I go, 2 million a year for Frank. Okay, what he, he hasn't shown enough production really,
No, I want
to
Hendricks
have
off
to,
this
to have
team.
a
To
to have a
be
big
quite
number.
blunt, I want
Okay,
Hendricks Lapierre off this hockey team.
we like him. We like him. Okay, let's be
Great guy, I'm
let's
sure.
be
I'm
clear.
sure, and
We
he's
like him.
been great to the city. I'm a great
Right,
person. But
right.
I am tired of watching him. Like
Right.
it's just, and also you have just to put something in perspective, the cap is going up a decent amount. So
True,
like
true.
a $2 million contract is almost minuscule.
Right.
Like
True,
we're
true.
talking about McMichael getting six possibly, but that's with
Right.
the raise. It's kind of like, all right, with inflation, that makes sense. So
Hmm.
that is something to put
Right.
in perspective when you're looking at these numbers over
Right.
time as we're signing and stuff or into the summer. The cap is going up. So just be
Right.
mindful that some of these contracts
Good
might
point.
seem a little higher. Like we're getting to the point where Makar's like gonna probably get 18, 19. Like it's gonna be
Mm.
disgusting. Kaprizov, I think,
Yeah.
got 18. So
Mhm.
it's getting
Right.
pretty crazy on money right now with the cap going up, and I think it goes up for the next 2 years. But don't quote me
Players.
on that
Yeah.
one.
No.
All right,
No.
before we get going, because I have no idea how long we've been doing this. Um, let's do some summer predictions. So first off, before I do my summer prediction, this is my summer fear prediction, and it's the fear that absolutely nothing happens. And here's the reason I'm scared of that. Because last year we went into the offseason with the full intention of basically doing exactly what we're doing right now. We need a top six winger. We need a top six winger. We needed a top six winger. Oh, last year we were really, really good. If we had another winger, we're going to be amazing. Well, we swung and missed. And obviously, our big target was Nikolai Ehlers, and he chose the Canes over us. And that was kind of the beginning for me of thinking, like, okay, I don't really trust Chris Patrick to get a deal done. And I will say, in the trade deadline, he made some smart deals. And so credit to him for that. He's not a dumb GM by any means, but I am a little worried that they're going to lean in, like we said earlier, to just the we're young and rise. And also, actually, something that we haven't talked about that does play a huge impact in this is if LV retires or not. We just have no clue. That obviously really changes things because then we have multiple holes to fill with lots of money to work with. So that is a whole other thing
Well,
um, that we'll have to figure
yeah,
out
so
as well.
so so the only thing, I mean, obviously I can understand and appreciate your
But that's the
fear.
fear. That's the
Um
fear prediction. So I'll let
we've
you give
gone it,
yours and how you
yeah,
think, and then I'll give another one.
we've gone into summers before where that has been a concern. I think the thing that I will say is, and part of this is a want, right? But they've positioned themselves to make a splash. And so the thing that I would say is, if it is a post Ovi era, how do I say this? How do you drive people into the seats? Right. I love this
Yeah.
team and I think the prospects are exciting. And I think they'll be a good quality team. So ultimately, that does put butts in seats. If you're going to be a playoff
And I think
caliber
I think
team,
give Caps fans some credit.
absolutely,
It's not all
absolutely.
about we
I
love Ovi and he's been our team
Right.
for 25 years and there probably are a
I
chunk of the
agree.
fan base that's going to be like I don't know if I can really watch for a bit. Maybe. But I
Right.
I give credit to Caps fans. You love your hockey team and I know there's so many
Yes.
people out there that do
And
love their
right.
hockey team.
I agree absolutely, absolutely. But I do think that again, from that perspective,
You need a star.
when you when you develop assets and you develop prospects, and you have all these things, then go after a star. Go after a big swing. Okay. And, again, Jason Robertson is a UFA, so, that's a different scenario.
Yeah, that's
But,
my favorite pitcher.
again, just a raw trade, we joke about it, you and I, all the time about Austin Matthews. If you're unhappy in Toronto,
You know,
put on a
yeah.
Caps jersey,
Here's the
right?
thing is people have said I posted a video just kind of joking about that after the Gudis hit and
Right,
stuff, and
right.
multiple people did say, "What's your trade offer?" And I was like, way above my pay grade. I have no idea. But a lot of people
Yeah,
are like,
yeah,
"All right, like put in like, these bigger names like that we obviously would not want to separate from." So that's the thing. To go after that, you also have to be willing to detach from some things you want. And so it's just would the Cats be willing to do something that big? Um, and that I don't know if they would. I would love it. It would be awesome because for everyone who thinks well Austin Matthews is this super wash sucky player, one, he is still one of the best defensive centers in the NHL, and two, he scored 69 goals 2 years ago. You can't
right,
tell me that's not in him anymore.
right.
No. And what did the Caps do best? Revive. Strom looked like his career was going to the wayside. Revived. Obviously, he needs to get back this year, but he was. And then PLD looks like a much better player. And I want to also say, I saw a lot of people commenting as well, like, oh, PLD's come back and how much has that really helped? I'm not judging any of these players off of the last 10 games of the season.
Sure, sure.
I'm just not. They are not playing like them. They're not playing well. This team needs to reset just completely. But yeah,
Well,
for me, I think the off season, I don't love the UFA pool either. I don't think
mhm.
there's anyone who really is that big or splash. I already talked about it a while ago that Jason Robertson is the only player and he's an RFA, not a UFA, that really
Oh, okay,
excites
right.
me and makes me kind of like I want that. The reason I think Jason Robertson's is not impractical is because this is a guy who's got all these very impressive, very good, high paid players, and Mikko Rantanen and I think Miro Heiskanen and all these guys.
Mhm.
And
Right.
Robertson is an extremely, extremely high level talented player that honestly deserves to be paid.
Yeah, right. He does.
And
Yeah.
does Dallas have the money to do that with all their
Right.
players? Now, I don't know about their
Sure.
cap space and stuff. I'm not going to get
Right.
into
Right.
that. But
Right.
that's why I think that is the best move. But so that's kind of my hope for the offseason. But I think the really big hope is just that something gets done. But my prediction is that the Caps, I think, trade for a top level, top six
Right.
player. I
Well,
don't think it'll
and
be a
again,
UFA. I think it'll be a
right,
deal made.
I agree because so going back to what something you said earlier, right? The key here is a Kale McCarr needs a Nathan McKinnon to activate
Quinn
and really
Hughes needs
create.
Kaprizov. Yeah.
Exactly. So when you go back to that comment, I think in my head it's like you got Chikrin, you got Hudson, you've got two of the most dynamic offensive defensemen in the league, and you have an opportunity to go out and get a top line, top six winger. Go do it. Go do it. Okay. You're going to make it. Those guys alone are going to make everybody better on the team that's on the team currently or our prospects, Crystal or Protus. But what you need is you need that dynamic player that can maybe they're a 30, 40 goal scorer now, but they can be a 50, 60 goal scorer because you've got now
Yeah.
dynamic defensemen that are supporting them, right?
And this
And
organized
again, I think
this
you can make an argument that Austin Matthews doesn't have that at Toronto. You know, he doesn't
no,
have
Toronto's a
kind of
bad team. Toronto's just a
right,
bad team.
right. They
Yeah, and he does. I think for him, it's kind of like Pierre-Luc Dubois. Oh, he's a locker room cancer. Oh, he's not. He's this. He's that. He's this. He's that. He comes
right,
here and he's
exactly,
so well liked. He's one of our best
exactly,
players. We
exactly.
love him. He works hard.
Right.
He loves the Caps. You can tell he loves playing. He takes care of our young guys. Like he's one of the best guys you'll meet.
Right.
So to me, with Toronto talking about all about how like he doesn't he's not a great leader and the team reflects what their leader shows them and all that stuff. I think okay, I think Austin Matthews as a player needs to get the hell out of there and go find
Mhm.
himself somewhere else. Do I think
Right.
it'll be with the Washington Capitals? Washington Capitals? Likely? No. But
Right. Right. Yeah.
regardless, I think he needs to get out there, and I think that is the not Austin, but I do think that is the way we get better this offseason is we make a deal to go and get someone that will have a big impact because I don't think any of the UFAs are really gonna do that in any way.
No, I agree. I agree. It'll be interesting to watch. I think we've got a couple things with the 10 games coming up. We hope to see some prospects, and then obviously we'll hope for a pivotal off season that turns us, back into the playoff bound era.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we what we popped, we were in it. Obviously, we were in it so consistently for so long. And then it's funny because like the 2 years ago playoff run where we just got in on the last game barely feels
Right.
like we made the playoffs because we literally made the playoffs. We were the worst team in the playoffs and then we got swept. So
Mhm,
it was
mhm.
very, very quick. But yeah, we'll continue to follow things along and we'll probably be doing a lot of prospect talk. And more so, I mean, like the Hershey Bears, if they make the playoffs, we'll follow that run to keep track of these players. We'll think of some segments to talk Caps, like the Mount Rushmore stuff. We're working on getting some interviews, things like that. So we're definitely gonna have content and be a place for people to listen and talk Caps and comment Caps year round. So we will stick with you, and we'll be back next week. So this has been the Screaming Eagle of Father Son podcast. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.